natural target because she's so pure and good.
Can you think of a more qualified human being?
No one feels it would be better to crack that glass ceiling than to have a woman as president. And many believe that that should be you.
But I've also said on the air I would vote for you if you won.
If you're watching, Madam Secretary, we know how to do this. We'll get you in there.
Yeah, is the media on Hillary's side? That's kind of like asking, does the sun rise in the morning? Our friends at the Media Research Center put together that piece of video, and it points out the obvious. Continuing now on the Steve Malzberg Show, J.D. Hayworth from the National News Desk of Newsmax. So pleased to be teaming up with the man for whom this hour is named, Steve Malzberg. You know, Steve, this is one of these things where every 4 years, well, and in between years too, the alphabet networks and the dominant media culture just rush to praise whoever is on the left being offered for national office.
Oh, my God. And nothing epitomizes it more than when Wolf Blitzer was dancing, drink in hand, and Don Lemon was leading the Sweet Caroline sing-along at the Clinton victory party when the DNC ended, live on CNN. I tweeted it out and Facebooked it out as it happened. I couldn't believe what I was watching. And the Media Research Center has done such great work at documenting all kinds of interesting things, such as the coverage given to Mr. Khan compared to Patricia Smith. And I know we have a guest coming up who could talk more about all of that.
Absolutely. Just a word here for you at home. If you care to call in, our phone number is 1-877-NEWSMAX. That's 1-877-639-7629. And joining us right now, Rich Noyes. We're pleased to welcome him. Rich, the research director at the Media Research Center, also one of the senior editors for newsbusters.org, Skyping in from Reston, Virginia. Rich, it is great to have you with us tonight. And really like that piece of video from Media Research TV. But you don't have to search too far and wide to find the dominant media culture in the tank for Mrs. Clinton, do you?
Oh, no, you don't. I mean, just look at the two conventions. I mean, the Republican convention, the networks, MSNBC, CNN, constantly scolding it for its negativity. They didn't like those chants of lock her up. Donald Trump, the Democratic speakers, called him a con man, a fraud. You heard 12 times more complaints about the negativity from journalists of the GOP convention than they did of the Democratic convention. They weren't offended by the Democratic convention as being too negative. They were offended by the Republicans. We get that every 4 years, whether it's Donald Trump, Mitt Romney, John McCain, whoever. The media show their stripes every 4 years.
And Rich, I mean, what we had at the DNC was the chairwoman having to resign in disgrace, the revelation of emails, and I'll say it every show, that were bigoted, homophobic, racist, anti-woman. And there was zero. After Debbie Wasserman Schultz stepped down, nobody talked about the fact that Hillary appointed her honorary chair of her campaign, and nobody talked any further about the emails or the nature of the emails, or that other heads should roll. Finally, a couple rolled yesterday. If that had been the Republican, the RNC and Priebus and company, what do you think we would have been talking about nonstop?
Oh, well, it would have been nonstop. Of course it would have been. You know, we sort of saw that with the Republican convention. The first night, Melania Trump gave a speech where I think about 50 words matched Michelle Obama's speech from 2008. That got almost 2 days of solid coverage, which is, you know, that is nothing. That is a mini convention scandal, if it's even that. Here you have the chairman of the Democratic Party resigning in a major scandal, an actual scandal, the way they rigged the primary process, and it got the same or less coverage on the networks. And then you're right, after Debbie Wasserman Schultz left, the coverage was over. If they kept talking about it, it was about the hacking and what were the Russians up to, not about the conduct of the Democrats in running their primary process.
You know, gentlemen, so often we say, hey, we're not the media, we're Newsmax TV. And so some who faithfully watch us may not be exposed to quite the outrage that comes from other cable networks. Case in point, Joy Reid over on MSNBC went on the defensive concerning the email investigation of Hillary, and things got a little heated. Let's watch.
What you just said was an invented thing. There's no 33,000 emails that are going to harm our national security. You know that there was an entire year and a half. We're not going to relitigate that. No, Amy, we're not going to relitigate that. But you can't make things up. Not if you're going to invent things. Okay, you can say your comments.
I'm not going to invent things, but the FBI also said.
No, ma'am. You cannot invent things.
FBI also said that she has not turned over. She didn't turn over all the emails.
No, ma'am. You cannot invent things. You cannot say things. You're putting out incredibly inflammatory information.
Amy Kramer, who often appears on Newsmax TV, and Steve, we treat her much better. But I just have to ask you, Rich, you see Joy with, I guess she describes it as joy, protecting Hillary at all costs. Are we going to see more of that in the 14 weeks remaining between now and Election Day?
Well, the short answer is yes. I mean, this was a guest who was repeating what James Comey of the FBI said about Hillary's emails and how she hadn't turned over the work-related emails. And Joy Reid said, no, you're inventing that. Hillary Clinton went on Fox News Sunday just the other day and said, oh, no, James Comey said I didn't lie at all. No, he did. He said it a lot. He proved it with his opening statement. And you don't have the networks in outrage about that. Instead, anything to do with Donald Trump to sort of take down his candidacy is getting airtime. Anything that reflects badly on Hillary Clinton doesn't get airtime. You know, you talked about the controversy with the. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, not to interrupt you, but Newsbusters and the Media Research Center put out a study today with the Wall Street Journal story that the Obama administration sent all those hundreds of millions of dollars to Iran on a cargo plane in different denominations, different currencies. And on New Day on CNN, they aired 200 more times coverage on Trump controversies this morning than they did on this huge, what should be a huge story on Obama and Iran.
Yeah, an hour and 24 minutes of their 3-hour show was Trump. 27 seconds was about this cash to the Ayatollah scandal of Obama. I mean, I understand vetting someone who might be president of the United States someday, but Barack Obama actually is president of the United States right now. How about a little scrutiny of the guy that's in the office when he does something like sends pallets and pallets of cash to the Iranian Ayatollahs?
Yeah, just imagine had this been a Republican president in office. But let's talk more. You know, in one sense, you can give guys a little bit of room here in terms of the fact that Donald Trump does attract eyeballs. It's just when the eyeballs are watching, you get from CNN statements like, and we showed this last night here on the Malzberg show, Fareed Zakaria. I guess this has been cleaned up, but it's worth another look.
It's sort of amusing to watch how is he going to pull it off this time. What is he going to argue? Usually he adds that the press hates him. But there's a term for this kind of thing. This is the mode of a bullshit artist. And, it's sometimes amusing, it's entertaining.
Yeah, so there he is, as the fancy term is, lapsing into opprobrium. The real life term is he's cussing on national TV to make fun of the Republican nominee. Now, we can point out he's a plagiarizer, so maybe he didn't have too many other words to use. But does this, Rich, capture the mindset of most of the press as they are intent on covering this campaign? We've got about a minute left.
Yeah, no, I think it exactly does. I mean, this was something he planned to do. I mean, he's not grasping for words. Wolf Blitzer doesn't try to cut him off. This was something that CNN knew he was going to say. He unleashes this vulgarity without any censoring on CNN just to take down Donald Trump. He thinks it might be effective. I think it actually makes the media that engage in this kind of tactic look small and sort of grasping for words, like you said. But look, I think if you want to, this is the kind of election where, usually it's 80 to 90% of the journalists vote Democratic, and it affects their coverage. I think here it's going to be closer to 100% are going to vote Democratic, and I think they feel some license to just unleash and take down Donald Trump in a way they haven't even in other elections, even when Barack Obama was the candidate. This is going to be one for the ages.
Rich Noyes, we thank you for interpreting all that noise on the left that we're going to hear down the stretch. Hey, Steve, my man, it has been so good tag teaming with you, co-hosting with you this week. You're on your own tomorrow, pal, at that new Newsmax New York.
Listen, Listen, thank you so much, and thanks to your great crew. Your show starts in about 30 seconds. Everybody stay tuned.